reads comics, he can't start.
It's not a real thing. Nobody that understands even the basics of the industry really thinks that writers are responsible for the problems with the industry right now. It's like a baby's fucking level of understanding. There are complex, myriad factors. I mean, it's the same thing as like, chuds that say, oh, these, movies aren't doing as well this year because of wokeness or whatever. When it's like, no, there's, it has more to do with people's changing consumption and, and prices and so on and so forth. Yeah, it's actually insane to actually think that, because you know what? Let's do this. The claim is this: that all these writers nowadays that are working on, I guess, superhero comics specifically is what they tend to refer to. They suck. These writers suck. They don't, nobody likes this shit. They're putting themselves into the characters, and they're not paying, they're not respecting what came before. Okay, well, and specifically, they're often talking about women, which Ethan Van Sciver has made that claim, and then fucking Draw and Talk, that fucking very very smart guy. He kind of went along with that and started, he did a more nuanced version of what Ethan Van Sciver said, but it's still the same thing. And so let's see. I will give Draw and Talk this. Draw and Talk in his video actually did name a couple of the creators he was talking about, which most chuds don't do. And if they do, they'll point to like Heather Antos and like, look what you're doing at Marvel. And it's like, dude, she hasn't been at Marvel in 2 years or some shit. Or they'll like, attribute something to her that wasn't her. But let's look at a couple of the names that Draw and Talk did say. So they like to say that these writers are bad. They like to say that the women especially, they don't know how to write superhero comics or anything. Let's just look at a couple of there's no way to objectively measure these things because there is no objective measurement. You can go based on sales, which, depending on what we're talking about, there's no, you can't point to all the women comics that didn't sell well. See, every time a woman does superheroes, it doesn't sell well because that's not a thing that happens. Let's see. We got Teenie Howard, one of the names that Draw and Talk had dropped. So in Excalibur Volume 1 there, she's got 4.5 stars out of 255 reviews there. Volume 4, still at 4.5 stars, generally. Overall, 151 reviews there, 4.5 stars. Oh, Betsy Braddock. Catwoman. / oh, down to just 4 stars there. Shit. Maybe she does suck. Knights of X. Oh, no, there's that. So, and like, does this definitively prove anything? No, because it's Amazon reviews, but it's not like these guys are giving any, they're not citing any source for these things being bad. And they often very clearly have not read them. Yeah, I mean, like, whenever those books were all coming out, when Krakoa first kicked off, I was not interested in Excalibur because everything else was so fucking exciting that I was like, I don't need the magic book, the sword and sorcery book. Now that in the last couple of months that, Krakoa seems to be going away, but maybe not. I've been going back and I've been reading that Excalibur, and I'm fucking loving it because just give me all the stuff on Krakoa. And you can look at basically anything. What are some good like a website that we would go to look at the reviews for comics, right? Because I normally don't care about reviews for comics. It's not something I really focus on. But like, the other night, Gordy, hey, the other night I was kind of just like, I'm curious, and I started like scrolling through, looking at because the other name that that Draw and Talk mentioned, even though kind of fucked up to do so because he was talking about women and he mentioned Vita Ayala, who I'm pretty sure is non-binary. So fucking shittiness there, but yeah. Yeah, League of Comic Geeks. Okay. And actually, this is probably a better place to look, right? The Amazon reviews, that's kind of like your normie reviews. You know, you're not maybe not as hardcore comics readers, I guess. I don't know. League of Comic Geeks, well, that's a whole other animal, isn't it? This is Vita Ayala's New Mutants, which I didn't love. I mean, it was fun, fine. You know what I mean? It wasn't a bad comic. And that's another thing. There is no fucking middle ground with these chuds. And I don't care if it's movies or whatever it is. If you never hear someone say something like, "Yeah, it's all right," if you just never hear that, and they strictly mostly talk about, it's shit, it's bad, and then every once in a while they'll say, "Ah, it's good," but they'll say because it's better than that bad woke thing. You probably shouldn't trust that person's opinions. Anybody that doesn't have a middle ground, like, any room for in their experience for like, yeah, it's fine. Because look, people work hard on this shit, and sometimes it just doesn't click. It doesn't hit the right notes, but that's not a bad comic. You know what I mean? Exactly. Yeah, I mean, look, I've been rereading recently I reread some of the Onslaught saga event. The first part, the second part wasn't available to read for free, so I wasn't going to buy it. Um, but then yesterday I started reading Heroes Return or Reborn, uh, the one from the 10-year anniversary or whatever. I think of whenever the Onslaught saga stuff. So Onslaught, it was after House of M, when Wanda said no more mutants, and it caused Onslaught to be released again. And Rob Liefeld fucking drew it. And it's really not good. It's not, but I'm enjoying it. Comics are a special thing like that.